The new device that we're talking about, launched by the famous tech giant Apple, is called the Vision Pro. Now, don't be fooled by its name. You might think that it's something related to vision enhancement or even eyewear tech, but surprisingly, nope. Professor Andrew Huberman, a popular neuroscientist, has emphasized this point clearly by saying, Vision Pro is not what you think it is. One can't help but picture a somewhat dystopian scenario associated with this tech advancement. The promotional material for the Vision Pro, with images of individuals sitting alone in dim rooms immersing themselves in their personal media, is telling. It's a scenario devoid of communal laughter, of shared experiences, or even of just human connection. Even virtual conversations seem to lack authenticity, with digital avatars eerily replicating their real-life counterparts. It brings to mind an image of a world where everyone is locked away in their own personal virtual prisons or spaces, interacting with devices more than each other. Envision an airplane cabin filled with passengers just engrossed in their individual virtual realities, cocooned in silence. It's already mostly how it is. This solitary focus, this concentration on personal experience, could be Vision Pro's greatest strength or its most significant flaw. You're using a device with Vision Pro technology. It's smart, so smart that it knows exactly where you're looking on the screen. Ad companies could use this in pretty big ways. They could see which parts of an ad catch your eye and which parts that you ignore. This could change the way that they design the ads. They could make them more appealing based on where people tend to look. It's like having a superpower that tells them what you're most interested in. But it doesn't stop there. With Vision Pro, they might even get a sense of what you're thinking. If you spend a lot of time reading a particular topic, they are probably going to guess that you're interested in that topic. They might start showing you ads related to it, as they kind of do nowadays, but in a different scale. Or they could notice that if you're reading quickly or slowly and use that to guess your mood or how much attention you're paying. This technology could give big companies a lot more information about us. Now, these big companies could use it to sell us things more effectively, but it also raises questions about privacy. How much do we want companies to know about what we're looking at or thinking about? So what is this mysterious device about? Well, it's a piece of equipment that for some strange reason only works when plugged into a big separate battery. It might seem a bit weird because usually Apple's gear is all about being easy to take with you or use anywhere. This device actually, though, needs extra battery, which can make it feel a bit clumsy to use. Many people are scratching their heads. They're asking, why does it need such a big extra battery? Doesn't this make it less handy to use in our daily life? Please make it less handy to use in our daily life. These are valid questions, considering we're used to devices that are simple, they're easy to carry around. In fact, this unusual feature might make people doubt if this device is really worth buying. But remember, that's just the beginning. We don't know the full picture yet. There could be some really cool features that make up for this odd requirement. The current situation with Apple's latest product brings to mind a somewhat disturbing image, one that we've often encountered in the stories of dystopian futures painted in the science fiction literature. One notable example is the famous novel 1984 by George Orwell. In these narratives, we see a stark, grim future where every person is essentially attached, physically and psychologically, to a piece of technology. We find ourselves living in a world where our lives are dictated by machines and where we are in a state of perpetual dependence on technology. In order to create this state-of-the-art gadget from Apple, you need to be prepared to shell out a significant sum of money. The asking price for this novel piece of technology is an enormous figure, one that translates to $3,500. To put it metaphorically, it's akin to the price of your firstborn child. This phrasing helps to underline the eye-watering cost of the device and underscores its status as a high-end, luxury item. This is not a gadget that just anyone can walk into a store and pick up. The price point sets it apart, making it inaccessible to a large portion of the population, and it designates it as an item that only a select few can afford to own. Upon the release of the official announcement video on Apple's YouTube channel, these reactions were mixed. More notably, the number of dislikes marginally surpassed the count of likes, which in the realm of the internet usually serves as a testament to public disapproval. But is the device as flawed as the public consensus seems to suggest? Many see the advent of this technology as nothing less than revolutionary, an exciting leap towards an unprecedented era of progress. Imagine an extraterrestrial being visiting us from a faraway advanced civilization, gazing upon our technological achievements. This alien might very well affirm with conviction that such technology is indeed the future. Of course, I should clarify, I'm not an alien technically. I'm just an interested observer eager to encourage the thoughtful dialogue on this topic. Nevertheless, as thought-provoking as the discussion around Apple's new product, Vision Pro, might be, I hold a rather controversial perspective on this thing. Contrary to what you might expect, I think Vision Pro is a product that, in all likelihood, has been set up for failure. The statement might sound harsh, but it's grounded in my assessment of the situation, so I guess we should probably dive into that a little bit. The discourse around the seemingly excessive price tag of Vision Pro is a critical one. It's easy to deflect criticism by saying, it's expensive because it's a premium product, or it's expensive because it's an Apple product. However, the real question that we should be asking is, does the price reflect its value? If a product price is high, then it sets a certain expectation for superior quality, unique features, or at least uncompromised functionality. Is Vision Pro meeting these expectations, or is it just a shiny new toy with a hefty price tag and little practical value? Andrew Huberman, a neuroscientist who extensively studies vision, might provide a unique perspective on this. His understanding of the complexities of human vision could shed some light on whether Vision Pro could genuinely enhance our visual experiences, or if it's just a beautifully packaged high-tech placebo. Moreover, drawing on his extensive expertise, we could further examine if Vision Pro's potential failure was a strategic move on Apple's part, aimed at some bigger picture that we're yet to fully understand, or whatnot. Despite the complexity of this issue, one thing is certain: the release of Apple's Vision Pro has sparked some debates and stimulated thought-provoking conversations. In this ever-evolving technological landscape, who's to say what's a failed product or what's a stepping stone towards something transformative? I mean, what is to say? Only time will tell. Let's start by discussing the cost of the Vision Pro. With an eye-watering price tag of an easy $3,500, it's certainly not a purchase for the faint of heart. You might find yourself questioning the sanity behind such an expenditure. Could you really envision yourself reaching so deep into your pocket for this little gadget? And, I gotta say, for the majority of people, no. A resounding no, in fact. Consider this. The amount that you shell out for a Vision Pro could easily cover the cost of every product that Apple has on the market, and you'd still have enough left for a handful of their famous polishing cloths. It's a bit of a stretch, but you get the idea. A sum of this magnitude would typically be used to acquire a variety of tech, not just one thing. So let's take a little trip down memory lane to the year 2007, when Apple first unveiled the revolutionary iPhone. This device was a gargantuan leap forward in technology compared to the phones that were available then. However, the significant difference lies in affordability. The iPhone, despite being a game changer, was still within reach of the average consumer, and hence its adoption was swift and widespread. Unfortunately, the same can't be said for the Vision Pro. In fact, it's a sobering reality that the Vision Pro's price is at least quadruple that of its closest competition. But is there any justification for this exorbitant pricing? To an extent, yes. While the Vision Pro may seem like a colossal investment for everyday individuals like you and me, it makes sense for those who are tech enthusiasts and always crave to possess the newest and most advanced gadgets. From a broader perspective, the public is essentially being offered a developer kit, cleverly packaged as a new product for advertising and promotional purposes. Apple, the tech behemoth, is not betting on massive sales figures for these gadgets. As per certain sources, they plan on manufacturing a maximum of just 500,000 units. The primary expectation is that a handful of development companies will purchase this device and begin developing technological compatibility and apps for it. And if that happens, Apple's going to have recouped their investment and then some within a few years. In fact, there is a high probability that Apple will eventually release a more affordable version, either an SE or a non-Pro model, as Apple do in a few years. Chances are that by then, any potential glitches would have been fixed, and it'll likely include several exciting new features. Interestingly, Apple is initially limiting the sales of this product to the United States. Now that's actually strategic, as their largest customer base and the majority of its developers are located there. Consequently, on the face of it, it might seem like this product is set up for failure in terms of sales. However, it's important to understand that this is early days for this technology, and Apple is essentially playing the long game, with plans spanning the next 5 to 10 years. That's the crux of the issue with the Vision Pro. We are expecting too much, too soon. The analogy is akin to wanting a jet engine before you even invented the airplane. All of these concerns are raised even before we delve into the practical aspects of this gadget. Is it really practical and beneficial for your individual needs? I mean, you got to think, right? It looks cool. This is a question for each potential buyer that they got to answer for themselves, though. I mean, everybody's buzzing about a shiny new toy, as humans do. It's a gadget that's promising the whole new world of browsing the internet. The marketing folks sure know their job. They've made an enticing commercial where a woman is seen lounging on her couch, using it to navigate the web. She moves her eyes up to steer up, taps to select, flicks to scroll up or down, but she even talks to the device to type. It's all so effortless, so streamlined. But let's take a step back and think about how this might work in the real world. Imagine a user's typical daily routine, where they finally get a few minutes of free time. What are they doing? They're probably typing, whether it's chatting with friends on Discord, catching up on work emails, or crunching numbers in Excel. Now think about doing all that with this new gadget. What about tasks that require precision, like making a tiny adjustment in an Excel cell or changing a formula? Can that be done with just a look or a spoken command? Seems doubtful. The biggest hitch comes with the dictation feature. To type, the user has to say everything out loud. There are a couple of reasons why that could be troublesome. First, it's no secret that voice-to-text technology has a long way to go. It often mishears words or phrases, especially when they're not commonly used, and if the speaker has an accent, that's even worse. Siri, for example, often makes mistakes that need to be corrected manually. Second, not everyone's comfortable verbalizing everything that they're thinking. There is a sort of privacy in the silent conversation between a person's thoughts and their keyboard, right? Not to mention there are plenty of situations where it's not just practical to speak out loud, like in a quiet office or a crowded bus. Third, there's the potential for confusion, particularly on online platforms like Reddit or Discord. If there are hundreds of thousands of comments in this thread, how is a gadget going to know which one the user wants to respond to? Starting to look like, even with this new gadget, keyboard and mouse will still need to be within arm's reach, as a sort of safety net. If that's the case, then what's the point? Why not stick with a traditional computer that's already proven its worth? The truth is, while this new gadget might look fancy, might look futuristic, it doesn't necessarily mean that it's going to make life any easier. In fact, it could end up making things harder. The gadget relies heavily on technology that isn't quite perfect yet. It assumes that users will be comfortable with dictation and eye tracking, which is not going to be the case with everybody, and it doesn't seem to take into account how precise or detailed some tasks can be, right? Sometimes the tried and true methods are the best. Keyboards and mice might not have that wow factor of this new gadget, but they've been reliable workhorses for years. They allow for precision, privacy, ease of use, which are all critical factors when interacting with technology. Sure, the gadget looks cool in the commercial, but in the real world, might not be as useful or practical as it seems. It might not be ready to replace the keyboard or the mouse, or at least not yet. Until voice-to-text technology improves and the gadget improves that it can handle precise tasks, it might be best to stick with what we know works. One of the exciting elements in this sphere of technology that catches everyone's attention is the development of the wraparound feature. In the last few years, 360-degree cameras have taken the world by storm. For instance, just a year ago, there was an opportunity to play around with an Insta360 X3, and that was nothing short of mind-blowing at the time. Think about what this could mean. Jetting off into a new country or soaring down a snow-clad mountain with a high-definition 360-degree camera in tow. The entire panorama of the experience could be recorded, capturing every twist and turn, every nuance of light and shadow. Later, one could revisit those beautiful moments in the comfort of their living room, or share it with loved ones, giving them the sensation of being right there. However, as promising as it sounds, we're still on the journey to reach this ideal. While technically possible with competing gadgets, Apple's approach is much more streamlined and user-friendly. The hitch, however, is the quality of 360-degree cameras. They're not quite there yet in providing experiences that feel genuinely immersive and real. It's a waiting game until technology catches up to their vision. Next up, let's dive into a key consideration when it comes to any piece of technology: power and batteries. A quick look at the headset reveals a power cable seemingly attached via MagSafe. Now, this warrants a round of applause. If the magnetic connection proves to be strong and reliable, this could be a game changer. The idea of having the battery external to the headset is another noteworthy design decision. The main advantage of this feature is that it takes the weight off of your head and shoulders, quite literally, and it places it in your pocket, where your wallet sits. Yeah. It's particularly a smart move when you think about devices like MacBooks and iPhones, where battery replacement is notoriously tricky and often impossible for users to undertake themselves. With an external, removable battery, the Vision Pro's lifespan is not dictated by the life of its battery. But here's the thing. While it would be great if this headset would be powered by an external battery pack, Apple's past moves suggest otherwise. Chances are the Vision Pro will only work with Apple's own proprietary and likely expensive battery. Even assuming that the headset can run on external batteries, there's a bigger question to ponder. You really want to carry around a hefty battery pack in your pocket while also wearing a fairly bulky virtual reality headset. Additionally, if the battery requires replacement every 2 hours, it adds another layer of inconvenience to the mix. All of these aspects might lead one to suspect that this could be a carefully crafted marketing strategy. Apple? Marketing strategies? What? While the wraparound feature and the external battery approach both seem promising on paper, they're not without their downsides. There's still a lot of work to be done to ensure that 360-degree cameras can truly deliver immersive experiences. Similarly, the battery setup, while innovative, needs to be user-friendly, it needs to be practical, and we anticipate the next leaps in technology. It's important to view each development with a critical eye, weighing the pros and the cons before being swept up in all the hype. Consider the Vision Pro, a revolutionary piece of technology that's creating a buzz in the market. On the surface, it might seem like a product destined for universal acceptance. It promises tantalizing things to many people. When it comes to companies like Apple, their innovative gadgets are usually met with an aura of zealotous fervor, I'll call it. As though caught in the rapture of a new invention, people are often swept away by the initial enthusiasm. But here's a fresh perspective. Vision Pro may not be everything that it's cut out to be. It might be worth taking a closer look before jumping on the bandwagon. Consider the programs and applications the Vision Pro supports, for instance. Every piece of technology hinges on the viability of compatible software and apps. The experience that you get out of a device is only as good as the applications that run on it. Apple's promotional events may paint a picture of universal adoption, of a world eagerly awaiting the company's latest release, but reality tends to be a bit more complicated. Think about the time that it takes for developers, from video game studios to individual app creators, to fully adapt to new technology. To be specific, let's examine the situation unfolding with games like Apple's Silicon. Though Apple gaming has made strides towards accessibility, the fact remains that only a handful of games have actually been, optimized for Apple Silicon. The reason it's less tempting for developers to pour resources into a market that currently houses a relatively smaller user base. Similar roadblocks could exist for the Vision Pro. At least in its early stages, its utility might be confined to specific domains like gaming or professional scenarios, waiting for a wider compatibility to evolve. We also should take a moment to acknowledge that we're still in a transition phase, a moment of anticipation as the technological world adjusts to the advent of the Vision Pro. However, it's also important to recognize the potential that the Vision Pro holds, the implications that it could have for our future. The advent of this technology could herald a new era in the way that we interact with digital devices. Maybe the future doesn't require us to buy traditional monitors. Imagine a world where everything is projected onto our retinas right before our eyes, no matter where we look. Yeah, just try and imagine that. Good, bad, or otherwise, whatever. I'm in for the ride. Let's go, baby! All right, later.